glorious morning here on the hilltop. I say this every year, but this is truly one of my favorite days of the year when it comes not only to athletics, but West Liberty University. We have another star-studded class of people who are so worthy of this recognition. It's great getting many of you back on campus. Some of you may not have been here in years. So I'm just going to ask one random question. Raise your hand and stand if this is the first time you've been here in 10 years. In 10 years.
How about ever? Ever counts too?
Ever counts too. Well, that's actually great. That means we have people. That means we have people coming to the campus. But I am so proud of West Liberty University. It gave me a tremendous life. And I hope we go strong for hundreds of more years. We're under great leadership. So right now, I would like to introduce our head table and let them make a few brief remarks. But our new athletic director, who is going to do a phenomenal job, Mr. Brad Forshee.
Well, thanks, Coach Allum. I appreciate the kind words there. First off, I'd like to say congratulations to this class. This is one of our favorite times of the year. Anytime we can get former athletes to come back and tell their stories, and that's just something that we love to hear, is the camaraderie and all the special times that you had during your time here at West Liberty. So we always appreciate that. We record that, and we're trying to get something put together for the future where our Hall of Fame inductees actually goes across the hall. There's a storage space over there that we're trying to develop into an actual walk-in Hall of Fame, and we've worked with the foundation. We've had some generous donors already donate toward that. So hopefully by next year we might actually have a Hall of Fame that you can walk into, and we've got a lot of good plans for that. So trying to grow it as we go along. But again, I can't thank you all enough for being here. I know all of you probably played in different eras, but the one thing that's remained the same was the hard work, the commitment, and loyalty that you gave to West Liberty. And it's an opportunity for now to thank you for what you've done and putting you into our Hall of Fame. So thank you for everything you do. We appreciate you coming back, and again, congratulations on behalf of the whole athletic department. So I'll now introduce our lovely president of West Liberty University, Dr. Tim Borchers.
Thank you, Brad and Lynn, and welcome everyone. Glad to see everyone here on the hilltop. This is my second year as president at West Liberty University, so it's my second year doing this event, and I really enjoyed last year's event. I see a few Hall of Famers out there, so welcome back. Looking forward to another great day. Today we really celebrate a couple of things. We celebrate the legacy of West Liberty University. I am so proud to be part of the history of this university, both athletically, academically, and the experience that we provide students. I think it's unparalleled, and I'm really excited about being able to continue moving the university forward. We also celebrate excellence today as well, and I think we have many excellent examples in this room that we'll celebrate today, as well as throughout the university. So very excited about that. Look forward to hearing your stories. I look forward to hearing about your experiences here on the hilltop. I like to retell those stories sometimes when I talk with alums or donors or future students, and to really give them a flavor of what it's like to be at West Liberty University. So I would add my thanks to the planning committee for this, for all of their work to pull this off, to our Aladdin staff for preparing an excellent breakfast. And I know you're all ready to eat, so I will sit down, turn it back over to Lynn, and enjoy the day. Go Toppers.
Two more people I would like to recognize. Our Director of Alumni Affairs, Amanda Bennett. Can you? And then our Director of Development, Sean Allum. And those are two people I would love for you to get to know. So please introduce yourself and open up your wallet. All right, now it's time to eat. That's the best part of the day, and our wonderful Aladdin staff will start with the tables. We'll keep with tradition here. Please rise if you already are a member of the Hall of Fame. Thank you. Now, we will go alphabetically. And again, keeping with tradition, we do the formal roll call of this year's class. Please hold your applause until I'm finished reading the names. Members of the 2024 West Liberty University Athletic Hall of Fame are Don Clegg, Michael Frazier, Cedric Harris, Jim Monnot, Andrew Schumacher, David Shuler. Ladies and gentlemen, all right, our first inductee is special to me in many ways. One, from someone that spent over 3 decades here, I've gotten to know a lot of the inductees every year. It's especially sweet when a close personal friend of mine gets inducted, so that makes it even more special. But what makes this class, I don't want to use the word unique, but like many Hall of Fames, ours started in 1980, and if you look at the early classes of the Hall of Fame members, pretty much dominated by football, basketball. That's just the way it was. And one of the things that we really wanted to address several years ago is to find the people that weren't previously nominated or we didn't have enough information on. And we really have tried to identify that. So what I tell everybody, if you're an inductee, whether it's this year or years to come or years past, if it took you a while to get in, that doesn't mean you're any less deserving at all. Everybody that gets in is more than deserving. And what we've tried to do, and I still do this, I was up on campus about a month ago, and I go over in the library and I get the archives out, and I'll go back, I'll start in 1930 and start going through the trumpets. And occasionally I'll find somebody that I didn't even know about. And I was the SID here for many years. So there's still people out there that have fallen through the cracks. What we have been able to foster here lately is we have people, former athletes, that say, hey, I played with this guy, or you guys have overlooked this person, and they will send a name. We do the research, and sometimes I'm even surprised, like, wow, how did this person not get in until today? But where I'm going with this story, our first inductee, what makes me so proud that he's going to get inducted today is, for many of us that's in the Hall of Fame, whether it's coaching, playing, every competition date, that's our day in the sun. We get that instant gratification. You win the game, you scored a touchdown, you scored 30 points in a basketball, you got a pin in wrestling, you won the 100-meter dash, whatever sport it may apply to, you're always getting that day in the sun. But there's so many people that work behind the scenes that really don't get their days in the sun. It's just work. Now, they take great satisfaction in that. They take great pride in that. We try to acknowledge them, but they really don't get their days in the sun. So when you get someone like a Don Clegg, who worked tirelessly for many years before he even came to West Liberty University, when he's the editor of the Wheeling News Register Intelligencer, and he is going out of his way. And I can remember when I was the SID, I didn't know what I was doing. I got hired here as the SID. I had never had a job like that ever before in my life. And I'm writing media guides, and I got to write previews. And I would call the Wheeling paper and say, hey, Don, is there any chance you could help me out with this? And he never said no. Now, he wasn't that smart then. He never said no. But even before he came to work at West Liberty, He was already doing tons of things for this institution and giving us recognition that maybe we hadn't gotten before. So way back, and I don't know when Don's first year was, what was it, Don?
Early 80s, I don't remember.
Well, when you came to West Liberty.
I came to West Liberty, I think it was officially about 2008.
Okay, so 2008, I made one of the smartest decisions that I ever made. I talked him out of retirement and got him to come to work for West Liberty. And again, ask any of our athletes, ask any of our coaches, ask any of our administration. He was somebody that worked tirelessly, but never got his day in the sun. So Don, I hope today is your day in the sun. Ohio Valley sports historian Don Clegg spent more than 4 decades promoting West Liberty athletics, initially as a longtime reporter and editor with the Ogden newspaper chain, before working for many years in the Hilltopper Sports Information Department. During his time on the Hilltop, Clegg successfully promoted multiple student athletes for NCAA Division II All-America, Academic All-America, All-Region, and All-Conference honors, while serving as a primary media contact for all WLU sports. In addition to generating editorial content for the university's athletic website, publications, and social media, he helped research and develop enhanced record books for several sports, oversaw a series of upgrades for the athletic website, and served as a host SID for NCAA Division II regional championships in basketball, wrestling, and softball. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present one of my closest friends, somebody I respect as much as anybody in the world, Don Clegg.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Well, Lynn, if you had told me you were going to have that much of a glowing introduction, I would have brought some more sunscreen. But anyway, seriously, thank you, Lynn. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I just want to thank West Liberty University and the Hall of Fame Committee for this wonderful honor. It was totally unexpected, but it is deeply appreciated. As Coach Ullum noted, West Liberty's been a huge part of my life ever since I can remember. Growing up in Moundsville, it seemed like just about every teacher and coach I ever had came from West Liberty. And for more than a quarter century at the Ogden newspapers, I had the local college sports beat and spent countless afternoons and evenings covering Hilltopper athletics before I finally came up to campus. And frankly, I've enjoyed every minute of it. From the countless hours Coach Ullum and I spent in the library digging through those old trumpets, box scores, photos, one of our various research projects, all the way to providing talking points for CBS's national telecast of the national championship game in Evansville, Indiana a couple years ago. Never a dull moment, endless supply of exciting ones. As Coach Ullum referenced, we hosted multiple NCAA regional tournaments and events in football, basketball, wrestling, softball, and golf during my time here. We even hosted a national championship in acrobatics and tumbling. We produced numerous NCAA All-Americans, academic All-Americans, National Players of the Year, National Academic All-Americans of the Year, more all-region and all-conference players than you could shake a stick at. And through it all, I was blessed to work with dozens of outstanding coaches and administrators, and I saw hundreds of student athletes enter the university as wide-eyed freshmen and leave with a diploma in one hand, a smile on their face, and a dream in their heart. And it's memories like that that I take with me today. Now I want to extend a special thank you to just a few of the people who have meant so much to me here over the years. Starting with Coach Ullum, Rex Lancaster, Brad Forshee, Robin Bruner, Logan Watson, and looking back to the start of it all, Dr. John McCullough, Jim Watson, Matt Watson, and there's so many more that it's just impossible to name all of them, but you're all right here with me. And in closing, I'd like to introduce the people who are here with me today. my son Corey and his wife Heather, my son Willie, his wife Mickey, my daughter Brittany, my very special friend Joyce Zeckler, my other daughter Mackenzie couldn't be with us today. I'm so proud of the young men and women that my children grew up to be. And in all honesty, most of the credit for that goes to my late wife, Ellen. We had nearly 4 decades together before we lost her to cancer a couple years ago. But in those 4 decades, she basically raised our 4 kids on her own because I was out covering games or umpiring or doing some freelance thing, and she did a terrific job. And while she was doing that, she still found time to work a full-time job and go back to school to earn her degree from, where else? West Liberty University. She'll always be my Hall of Famer. So congratulations to today's other honorees. Thank you again for this incredible honor. I'm so proud to be a Hilltopper.
Tell the truth, Don. West Liberty or the Pittsburgh Pirates?
That's a coin flip. They're both black and gold.
Good answer. But you're not in the Pirate Hall of Fame. Well done, Don. Well done. Our next inductee also I have a deep appreciation for because he participated in a sport that doesn't get the media coverage because it's not really a statistical sport. You know, one of the easiest things to do as former SIDs, as Don and I were, when you're covering football, you can talk about 100-yard passers and field goals and rushers, and in basketball, points scored, and now it's three-pointers and this and that. So many sports, baseball, look at the incredible statistical background that's in baseball. But some sports don't have that other than your final time. So at times, it's really, really hard to publicize that sport. And you go back at a time before there were even really SIDs and things. These are the people that I reference that have fallen through the cracks, that are every bit as deserving, every bit as talented, and have every bit the number of accomplishments that other people have, but they've fallen through the cracks. So first and foremost, I want to apologize for that, and hopefully we can start rectifying these instances where we've missed people and we give them their day in the sun. So our next inductee, Michael Frazier, a 3-time NAIA National Cross Country qualifier. Michael Frazier was a 7-time All-West Virginia Conference track and cross country standout under WLU Hall of Fame coach Tim Weaver from 1975 to 80. Frazier was a major factor in helping lead West Liberty to 6 West Virginia Conference championships during his 4 years on the Hilltop. He ran a leg on the 4-mile relay team that set a school record in 1977 and served as the captain for both the track and cross country squads in his senior year. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Michael Frazier.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I like being first, but I don't mind being second, especially when it comes to running. I first want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for his grace and blessings in my life. I give him all the glory. I want to thank my beautiful wife of 45 years, Charlene Frazier, for always supporting me and sharing life with me. We first met in the college union here on campus during my sophomore year, and 2 years later we got married in the Interfaith Chapel. Together we raised 3 beautiful daughters, and 2 of which graduated from West Liberty. They're both here today. We are now proud grandparents to 6 grandchildren. I want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for selecting me for this honor. I am truly humbled to be among such great athletes, and I'm thrilled to be in the Hall of Fame. I want to thank my high school coach, Coach Downey, rest in peace. He was ahead of his time in the early 1970s with his innovative coaching. He was a great coach, teacher, friend, mentor, motivator, and gentleman. He was a godsend because he helped change and mold my life during high school that lasted a lifetime. Coach Downey is now in several Hall of Fames, including my alma mater, Martins Ferry High School. I want to thank my coach, Tim Weaver, rest in peace, for recruiting me out of high school. He is also a West Liberty Hall of Famer, and he was a great coach, friend, motivator, and gentleman. When I was a senior in high school, I received multiple letters from various colleges and universities inviting me to join their program, such as Malone, Mount Union, Marshall University, High University, and WVU. I even visited several campuses, including Bowling Green University. But one day, Coach Weaver and Coach Martin from West Liberty came to my high school and pulled me out of class to talk about their program. I was so impressed by their enthusiasm, I immediately made my decision where I was going to further my education and compete at the collegiate level. Plus, they offered me a 4-year scholarship. That always helps. I want to thank my brother, George Frazier, for being the first to introduce me to cross country. When I was going into 8th grade, my brother George was entering his senior year in high school. George was an outstanding wrestler at Martins Ferry. He went on to wrestle a few years under Coach Monnot here at West Liberty. Anyways, George decided to run cross country his senior year to get in better shape for wrestling season. He inspired me so much by the stories he told about running and racing. I knew I wanted to run cross country when I got into high school. I want to thank my friend and teammate Joe Ellis for being a lifelong friend since high school. We first met in cross country season in high school. And now 50 years later, we are both in the Martins Ferry High School Hall of Fame. Our lives seem to parallel each other in many ways. For one, we both continued our education and running passion here at West Liberty. We often trained together during the off seasons, and because of our competitive natures, we pushed each other to be the best that we could be. Like Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. I want to thank my friends and teammates, Joe Sarver and Bruce Cox, for their support and for nominating me for this honor. They are both West Liberty Hall of Famers and 2 of the best distance runners in West Liberty's history. I also want to recognize my friend and teammate, Roger Coyner. We were roommates here at West Liberty, and we became close friends for life. We spent many days and nights talking about running and racing and strategizing during that time. Roger was one tough miler in track. In the spring of 1977, I had one of my best track seasons, and so did Roger. We both took part in setting the new school record in the 4-mile relay that spring at the Marshall University during the Hall of Fame relays with Jesse Owens in attendance. I want to give a special thanks to Coach Monnot for taking me under his wing during the spring of 1979 with an encouraging word. You see, after track season in 1978, I gave up my last year of eligibility and nearly dropped out of school. It was during a period in my life when I was doing some deep soul searching. I decided to only take a few classes that fall and commute to campus. But that following spring in 1979, Coach Monnot approached me on campus and said something like, "If I can get your scholarship back for your last year of eligibility, will you come back and run cross country and track?" So I agreed, and the following cross country season, fall of 1979, was like a Cinderella story. I had rejoined the cross country team after taking a 1-year hiatus from running, so I had a lot of catching up to do training-wise. We had an interim assistant basketball coach that year, Coach Burnham. He didn't know a lot about cross country, but he did everything possible to help us be successful. Joe Sarver and I were co-captains, and we designed all the workouts that year. However, just before the season started, our team consisted of only 3 guys, Joe Sarver, John Sorge, and myself. It takes a minimum of 5 guys to make a cross-country team. Somehow we were able to recruit enough people from campus to build a team. Throughout that season, although our team was very competitive, we could not beat the conference favorite, Glenville. That is, until the conference meet. I finished as a runner-up by outkicking the Kenyon running for Glenville. That was my 3rd time to qualify for nationals in cross-country. Joe Sarver won the meet outright, earning him the title of Runner of the Year. Our other teammates also ran their best races as well and finished 9th, 11th, and 12th. West Liberty pulled off an amazing conference win by edging out a talented Glenville team, 35-41, and qualifying our team for nationals. I want to thank all of my coaches and teammates during that era in the 1970s. There are too many to list, but without them, I wouldn't be standing here today. They have all positively impacted my life and my athletic career. Bear with me, I'm almost done. There are countless stories and memories I could share. I won't go into all of them, but I'll mention a few. Like the time when Bruce Cox invited me to run in a 24-hour relay race near Washington, D.C., then 4 weeks later, running the Charleston distance race right before I started my freshman season in 1975. We're running hundreds of miles out on Apple Pie Ridge, over the hills and through the hollows surrounding the beautiful Hilltop campus. We're being chased by German Shepherd once. We're battling 8-foot-high snow drifts during the blizzards of 77 and 78. We're training year-round in all types of weather conditions, including rain, sleet, snow, hot summer days, and frigid winter days. Or my best cross-country season in 1977, when I won a couple of dual meets, ran a PR of 25:04 on our home course, and was the top conference finisher in many of the meets that year. Or being a part of West Liberty's history by contributing to 6 conference teams, championship teams in track and cross country in the latter 1970s. I want to leave you with a little history about that era that we competed in. Throughout the 1970s, there was a running boom that was inspired by running legends like Jim Ryan, Dave Waddle, Frank Shorter, and Steve Prefontaine. The popularity of distance running nationwide was at an all-time high, and the level of competition in the 1970s was staggering. West Liberty even competed against some very talented international students at local, regional, and national meets. I would like to finish by saying I will be forever grateful that West Liberty gave me the opportunity to further my education and compete at the collegiate level. The years I lived on campus were some of the best experiences of my life. Last but not least, I want to thank my mom and dad. For being the best parents a son could ask for. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And my son, who ran cross-country and track here, Michael, I can tell you, they still run apple pie. They still get bit by dogs, and they still run in snowdrifts. So that hasn't changed. Our next inductee is someone that I got to know pretty well. That's one of the greatest things about my job, as a basketball coach here, then as the athletic director, is you get to meet a lot of these student athletes. So it just means that I'm getting incredibly old, as now we're inducting people that played here in the last decade or two. But this kid was incredibly charismatic. And the one thing that I love about Cedric, I don't know how many times in my life that I've ever ran into you, whether it's at a basketball game or when you were in open gym or at a football game or the first thing I saw you today. You have a smile on your face every single time I meet you. And he carried that charisma to the basketball court. And I really believe that's one of the reasons that he was as successful as he was. You have that smile and people gravitate towards you. And I'm going to give you one more compliment, Cedric, before I read your brief bio. In the sport of basketball, just like a lot of things, it's the guys that score all the points that normally get all the recognition. And Cedric could score. His career scoring average was over 18 points a game. Cedric, I've been around basketball a long, long time. You are the best defensive guard that's ever played at West Liberty University. And what makes that so special, there's a lot of defensive specialists. So if you know basketball, you talk about the Dennis Rodmans of the world. They never scored. Their job is you're going to go out and shut this person down. Cedric was one of those unique players that had an immense amount of talent. He could handle the ball, he could shoot the ball, he could make the flashy passes, but he could lock down the other team's best players. So, again, best defensive guard I've ever seen here. Cedric Harris, a two-time NCAA Division II All-American and Regional Player of the Year. Cedric Harris made a significant impact on West Liberty University's basketball program. During his 3 seasons in the Hilltopper backcourt, Harris led the Black and Gold to a spectacular 97-9 record that included a staggering 62-4 conference mark. Harris enjoyed a standout senior season. The Hilltoppers rolled to a 31-4 season marked, capped by a postseason run to the school's first NCAA Division II National Championship game. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Cedric Harris.
That was the ultimate compliment. Coming here, obviously, guys that I played with, it didn't matter if you scored 2 points or 22 points. We just wanted to win. And if winning meant playing defense, that's what I did. And I appreciate that. Thank you. This is an honor. This is such a great feat for me, my family, and to be amongst such beautiful people, the inductees. This is tremendous. And when I got the letter in the mail, I had a hard time wrapping my head around it. So congratulations to all the inductees. I do want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for nominating me, because this is a big moment, not only for me, but my family and my boys to get to see this. This is incredible. And as we're coming up the hill, I come up here in the summers. I also coach. I'm the head basketball coach at Zanesville, so we do the camp here. But coming up here with the boys and the family, one word just comes to mind, and that's family. The definition of family for me is not necessarily your blood, but the people who are going to look after you, the people who are going to sacrifice for you, the people who are going to go to bat for you, and I consider them brothers and sisters. So, as I thank these people, hopefully it kind of gives you the story that I have, and it kind of shows you my journey as I got here to West Liberty. So, I always see WOU family, and it truly is a family here. And, I was at Willing Jesuit to start. I know you guys don't want to talk about them. And I started there. The first time I knew it was a family was the first time we had played here. And I turned the ball over 12 times. I had 5 points, and I was coming off of a 28-point game, 26-point game. But when I stepped here on this campus and played in this gym for the first time, not with the Hilltopper uniform, but with another uniform, you could feel the energy and the family that supported West Liberty. And I can tell you this, I remember leaving the gym and I had called my cousin Andre and I said, I think I want to be a part of that, man. I want to be a part of something that special. So I end up going, I transferred from Wheeling and I went to Ohio State. I walked on at Ohio State. And I didn't make the team. They narrowed it down to me. There was 10 of us. And unfortunately, I came in at a time that they had a pretty deep class. And I didn't make it, and it was very hard on me. And I was done. I didn't want to play. I felt like, man, I failed. I felt that, I let a lot of people down. But I felt like I was a little burnt out. And there was a guy who would call me all the time. And he says, hey, man, I'm coming through Zanesville. My family and I would like to take you out to eat. And, I just kind of want to talk West Liberty basketball. I said, okay. So Coach Eric Bavard, he was here. He's now at Monnot, would take me to Cracker Barrel. And I'm not a big fan of Cracker Barrel. But it was a free meal. And I like to talk basketball. And he would, he would tell me, hey, man, I want to get you up on campus, and I want you to see just the facilities. And I was like, well, maybe one day. A couple weeks go by, he'd go through again, hey, we're going to the Columbus Zoo, the family. Do you, stop and have lunch again at Cracker Barrel? Yeah. Yep, let's do it. So had lunch again, he said, look, we're not going to talk basketball, just talk family, and we did. We didn't talk basketball here. We just talked about my family, my mom, my dad, and that was special to me, because it was like, man, he cares about me enough to not only talk about basketball, but this is bigger. So I remember going home that day, that last time I had lunch with Eric, and my dad said, I miss watching you play. And that then that's all I needed to hear. And I said, you know what? I'm going. So I called Eric Bavard. He was on his way to the zoo. And I remember saying, hey, Coach, I'm coming. And I'm coming to West Liberty. And he was getting ready to turn back around and pick me up and take me to West Liberty and forget all about the zoo trip. I could imagine if he did turn around and pick me back up, we probably would have ate at Cracker Barrel before we hit the road back up the east. So Eric played a big key part in getting me here. So I definitely want to thank him. You have teammates, and you're nothing without your teammates and the support of your teammates. And I tell you, those guys, they made it a lot easier for me. Playing alongside guys like an Alex Falk, who was the hardest working guy I have ever played with. And you got guys like a Chris Morrow, who he would show up, shoot lights out. Seeger Bonifant, who was probably one of the best three-point shooters. He's Player of the Year 2 times. Tim Hosfeld, he's this big, and he could shoot, probably better than anybody I have ever met. And actually, he moved to Zanesville, and I'm trying to get him on my coaching staff. But I think he drinks a little bit too much. So, I don't know if I can keep him sober enough. But I do want to recognize 3 of my teammates who have played pivotal roles with my growth and my maturity here. First was Jordan Fee. He was an assistant coach here. He took me under his wing when I got here. It was after Corey Pelly and the team that went to the national championship game. Jordan Fee was coming in the next season, and he was supposed to be the guard. He was supposed to be the guy. He didn't know I was coming. And for him, he battled some injuries, and I took his spot. But this is where the family comes into play. He didn't gripe. He didn't transfer. He didn't make excuses. He came right up to me, took me under his wing, and he guided me each day. And that meant a lot, And I was in his wedding. He's now down at Florida Atlantic, and he's a guy who I would always lean on, and, I want to thank him. The other is Mike Lamberti. Mike Lamberti, we came in together as freshmen. And I remember coming up the first time I met him, we were in an open gym, and he came in with these green shoes on, and I'm like, man, this dude got these big old green shoes on. It's like, man, I said, I know he ain't no good at basketball. And Coach Crutchfield said, hey, you're going to play with Mike. And I'm like, the kid in the green shoes? He said, yep, him. I said, okay. He said, you guys are going to play against the team who just went to the national championship game. And I'm like, all right, man, let's lace them up and play. We played them that day, and I remember about halfway through, because we would always play to about 100, 120. About halfway through, Coach Crutchfield gets up and walks out, because me and Mike, and we had some other guys, we were beating them pretty bad. I mean, and that's when I knew, like, man, this kid in the green shoes can play, but, man, we could be pretty good. And I remember, like, thinking to myself, him coming up to me like, hey, man, we're going to make this thing. We're going back to the national championship game. I'm like, you know what, Mike? I think you might be right. And, I'll get on dudes all the time that we played, and they said, yeah, we went out the night before. Nah, I think we were pretty good. So, Mike, he has played a pivotal role. Him and I, we lived together for a little bit while I was up here. I still communicate with him very frequently, and I want to thank him. C.J. Hester is another one. I think you guys are very familiar with C.J. Hester, the all-time leading rebounder here. He's the dentist. He was a guy, the diversity up here wasn't a whole lot. There was C.J., though, who had that charisma. And it just naturally, I gravitated toward him because him and I had very similar personalities. And, he would just, his energy, his dance moves, the way he talked, the way he walked. He came in one day, we lived together as well. And, he come in and he put on this do-rag, and I'm like, Bob, you got a do-rag on? He's like, yeah, man, what you think it looks like? I'm gonna wear it over here to this party. I'm like, Bob, you got a do-rag on, man. I don't even wear do-rags. He's like, so CJ, the one important piece, when my son was born and I was up here, he had went out, him and his family had bought me a pack and play. And I'm thinking these pack and plays are, I appreciate it. This pack and play was pretty expensive. That's why I'm like, man, CJ must be pretty wealthy. Because this pack and play I got, I bet if I sold it right now, I'd probably make at least a couple thousand, right? That's when I knew, it's bigger than basketball. It's family, and that was a family moment for me. And then those are my teammates that just, they shaped who I was while I was here. Coaching staff, Ben Hallett, you guys are very familiar with him and the success he has. He's such a great guy. He would hide the muscle milks from me all the time down in his office. But him and I have become very close over the years. We have shared stories. I pick his brain on things that I need to implement in my system, and I'm forever grateful for him. Jim Crutchfield, the wizard on the hill, I can't say enough about him. He's a guy who gave me a chance. He's a guy who he's the best coach I've been around. I mean, he allowed me to be myself. He accepted me for who I was. He accepted my family. You know, and I can't say enough about him and what he has done for me. So I want to thank him as well. My family, my brother, he's here. He traveled from Alabama, retired military. I can't thank you enough, and the way you have pushed me growing up. Thank you. Mom, you are the mom that, you know, everybody should have. You're just wonderful, and it's not about you, and that's where I feel like I got my giving from you. The sacrifices that you have made, the days those Saturday mornings where we would just go around the neighborhood and pick up trash. And my cousins loved staying at our house, and my friends loved staying at our house, and we'd have a lot of people at our house on Friday, Saturday nights. Sometimes it got a little less on those Fridays because Saturday mornings we would be up picking up trash at like 6 in the morning, and they're like, "Hey man, I ain't going over there, man." I'm like, "Man, come on, man, it ain't that bad. It's only an hour." And I'll tell you, you know, I remember I was ready to be done. I was ready to be done with basketball. I remember coming home, and my wife had told me that she was pregnant, and I felt like the world was kind of crashing on me a little bit. And I remember going home, and I said, I'm done playing. I told my mom. She said, "What are you talking about?" I said, I'm done. And she said, "No, you're not." I said, I'm done. My decision is final. And I walk out the house, and she runs out and grabs me, and we're wrestling back and forth. And, you know, I feel like I'm pretty strong, you know. It's like, man, my mom's pretty strong. And I couldn't get the keys from her. And I remember just the look in her eyes, and she just looked at me and said, "You have to go back." You know, I needed that. Most moms wouldn't go out there and sacrifice and do what you did. And if I didn't see that and hear that, I probably wouldn't have went back. Thank you. Dad, I mean, you're it, man. You are my role model. You're my hero. 35 years in a factory, sacrificing, late nights. I don't see you. You taught me what it is to become a man, what it is to sacrifice for my family, for the betterment of everybody else. You need a statue. You truly do. And the statue that I have is right here. You man, you're everything to me. You know, it's crazy. You think about people who retire and they're done, and it's like, man, I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm gonna golf, play. Not him. He retired from a factory and came back, and he wants to give back, and he's a bus driver for our district now. You know, and the kids love him. The kids, they come in, they say, "Hey man, Mr. Harris, your dad, man, he's in there listening to that music again." And you know, I'm like, "Is he?" I said, "What's he listening to today?" They said, "I don't know, some old school stuff, man." But you know, and he gives the kids $2, you know, and my mom's yelling at him like, "Man, we ain't got enough money in the bank account, Terry." You know, but you know, that's just the type of person he is. Dad, thank you. My boys, Cruz and Kaz. You know, Cruz, he spit an image of me. Kaz, he's what I was growing up, personality-wise. You guys are the reason I do what I do. You guys are. You know, Cruz, having you while I was here, and that was special. And for you to come back here and witness this makes it even better, man. I hope that I can instill in you what my father has instilled in me, and I strive for that every day. My wife, Kaylee, we've been through a lot. And, you know, as a basketball player, as a coach, the sacrifices that your spouse has to make for you to achieve what you want to achieve, they take the back burner to a lot. They take the back burner, and it's not easy. And you are the foundation of what we have built. You are the rock. I couldn't do what I do without you. And I don't tell you enough, I love you. I truly do. You are amazing. So thank you. And last but not least, I saved this last one, and I know I'm rambling. I saved this last one. This is special, guys. This guy and his wife are solely one of the main reasons I'm here. I went through a stretch here where I had to do some soul searching. I was down and out. I went through something that it was just like, man, I can't stay here anymore. And I remember walking right up here, and I'm getting ready to walk past Blatnick, and this guy could have been golfing, he could have been sleeping, because Lord knows he loves to sleep and loves to golf. He could have been cooking steaks, because Lord knows he loves cooking steaks. He could have been down coaching football. Coach Roger Walleye, he didn't know me from a can of paint. I would see him around, he would say, "What's up?" And I'm walking by, and I'm headed home. I am headed home. And he said, "Hey, man, run's out. What's going on? What's your situation like?" I said, "Coach," I said, "man, I feel like I got to move on with my life. I feel like it's time for me to go." And he said, "Nah, man, I want you to stay with me for a week, because then I was living on the floor at Jordan Fees." He said, "I want you to stay with me and my wife for a week." I said, "Okay." So I went, stayed with him for a week. Short story, that week turned into a month. That month turned into 2 months. That 2 months turned into a whole year. And he and his family had took me in. They washed my clothes. They gave me food. They gave me money on road trips. We played golf all the time. He was a mentor to me. He was a guidance counselor. And I really, truly can't thank him enough in what Roger and Karen has given me. First time I ever changed Cruz's diaper, and he peed on me, was right down on their couch. And I tell you guys, I know Roger, a lot of you guys know him. And when you have kids and they go on to college and you say, "Man, I want them to have somebody who looks after them." He's that guy that had looked after me. He was my dad while I was up here, and I'm forever grateful for him and Karen. And I want to say thank you to them. So, in closing, like I said, family is not your blood. It's somebody who has your back. And West Liberty University is that family. So I always tell my players this, and I'm going to leave you with this. You show me your family, and I'll show you your future. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Cedric, Ben needed that muscle milk more than you. And we do a FaceTime with Mike Lamberti every week. So I'll tell him that you said some good things about him. All right, our next inductee played for one of my longtime colleagues, Coach McConaughey. Raise your hand there. Bo, legendary athlete here, legendary coach here, had some incredible baseball teams, and this man was obviously one of the best of the best. So again, for any of these people that had to wait your time, again, I apologize. I wish it would have happened sooner for you, and hopefully if you had to wait, then it may even mean a little bit more when you get here today. So next, Jim Monnot was a 4-year Mound Ace for WLU Hall of Fame baseball coach Bo McConaughey, who helped lead the Hilltoppers to 4 straight West Virginia Conference Tournament championships and NAIA District 28 titles during the late 1980s. Monnot's diamond success continued after graduation as he excelled in the Canton Class A amateur baseball for up to 16 years. He was the 1990 Most Valuable Player and Pitcher of the Year, went on to earn multiple All-Star selections leading up to his 2002 induction to Stark County Amateur Baseball Hall of Fame. He was a bellwether here for 4 years, 1987 WVIC Pitcher of the Year, and a first-team all-conference selection as a junior. He finished his stellar career as a team captain in 1988, setting career records of 6 shutouts and 33 complete games that still stand nearly 4 decades later. During his 4 years on the Hilltopper, the Hilltoppers won 3 West Virginia regular season championships while posting an outstanding 67-17 mark in league play. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Jim Monnot.
Thanks, Lynn. All right. Good morning, everyone. Lynn, thanks for the kind words. I want to congratulate all the Hall of Famers today. Thank you for the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me this year. It's truly a great honor. Today is a day of celebrating. I am blessed to have many friends, teammates, family here to share this award with you. So how did I get to West Liberty? Well, I grew up in Canton, Ohio, and West Liberty was a little foreign to me, and this area was a little foreign. So I was introduced to West Liberty by Ross Vukovic. Thanks, Ross. Ross and I played in the same summer league team after I graduated from high school. I didn't play much that summer, but Ross took me to West Liberty anyway. Ross, thank you. Thank you for caring about me and taking a day trip to West Liberty. You've been a great friend. I was fortunate to play in an era when success was expected on the baseball field, and boy, did we succeed. In my 4 years, we won multiple championships and played in the regional tournament every year. The regional tournament had 4 teams. The winner of that tournament went to the World Series. Unfortunately, we could not make it out of the regional event, but I'd like to think I played a little part of the success during my years. My freshman year was a unique one. I was fortunate enough to be part of the pitching staff. I think I was the 11th or 12th pitcher. I think we had 12 on the staff, on the team. It was so competitive that I didn't even throw one pitch on our southern baseball trip. Thanks, Bo. We probably played 8 to 10 games. I thought my main purpose as a freshman was to carry the helmet bag or the baseball shag bag. I mean, as a freshman, that was my job. But during the season, I had an opportunity to pitch in a game, and I pitched well. Another opportunity came my way, and I pitched well again. Coach had the confidence in me to allow me to pitch in a tournament game. So I went from 11, 12 on the staff up to the number 4 starter in a few months. Coach, thanks for that opportunity and believing in me. So the rest of the story is my first game in the summer league in Canton. I was pretty confident since I had a good freshman year. And the first team we faced was my old team, Ross's team. Well, these were older men. They knew how to hit. And they knew how to play baseball. So after 7 innings and giving up 14 runs, I was pulled from the game. I guess baseball and life can humble you. I do want to thank Coach Bo McConaughey for being a tough, old-school coach during my years. There wasn't too much coddling or hand-holding, that's for sure. Bo was not shy to call you out and give you a few choice words of encouragement. Bo demanded excellence from all of us, and it showed on the field. There were many times in practice when someone screwed up and one of his famous sayings came out, "on the line." Oh, geez. That just meant we were going to run until we stopped making mistakes. Some days I thought I was on the track team instead of the baseball team. Even though you were tough, you loved baseball, and so did I. That's the bond we've had together for the past 40 years. Thank you for molding me into the person that I am today. Many other players were instrumental to my success. Some of them are here today to celebrate with me. David Burnquist, Matt Morrison, Bill Beattie, Jim Marcus, Mike Goodwin, Scotty Poe. Well, thanks for coming today, guys, and more importantly, for our friendships for the past 40-plus years. You guys are the best. My college roommate, Greg Brown, is here too. Greg wasn't on the baseball team, but more importantly, he was an athletic trainer. Anything that I needed, Greg was there. Thanks, Greg. I need to make a shout out to David Burnquist. Bernie has been putting and organizing a golf outing at the end of June for over 30-plus years. Most of the guys that attend that outing played with us during the mid-'80s. It's a great chance to see one another, catch up on old stories, and play some golf. But speaking of golf, when my baseball days were behind me, I continued to play golf to fill that competitive void. I was fortunate enough to win some tournaments, but more importantly, build long-lasting relationships. I want to thank John and Dave for coming today. Maybe some of my baseball buddies can lie to you and tell you how good I was on the field. I think what's the saying? The older I get, the better I was. I'd like to thank my family. I am the youngest of 7 kids. I have 5 sisters and a brother. Some of them are here today. Kathy, Paula, Barb, her husband Steve, my brother Joe and his wife Diana. Growing up, playing any sport outside was a normal thing. What I didn't realize was the competitiveness that I witnessed and received from my family. Thank you for always supporting me and pushing me to be a better athlete and a better person. It's no surprise that some of my siblings are in the Stark County Hall of Fame as well. Special thanks to my mom and dad, who didn't have much but gave me everything. I'm sure my dad is looking down today with a big smile. Mom, thanks for being here today. I love all of you guys. I am blessed to be married to Colleen for over 33 years. You're my best friend. I look forward to many more years with you. Love you. I want to thank my 2 sons, Tyler and Kyle, my daughter-in-law, Mary, and my grandson, Jude, for coming today. It truly means the world to me that you are here. As I mentioned, we made it to the regional tournament each of my 4 years at West Liberty. I was fortunate to pitch in 3 of those years. During my sophomore year, we won the first game, and I was next in the rotation to pitch game 2. Our opponent was South Carolina Aiken. Now, they were ranked in the top 5 of the country at the time. So we played our games in Bluefield, West Virginia. If you're familiar with that, it's in the southern part of the state. So I have been told, don't know if this is true, that there's a service road about 40 feet behind the left field wall. During the game against Aiken, I pitched the ball, and a hitter, yeah, I know his name, Roberto Hernandez, hit a ball over the fence that crossed state lines. So I've given up many home runs in my career, but I think that's the only one that crossed state lines. I guess we got the last laugh because we won the game 4-3 on a game-winning home run by our own Bill Billick. Wow, what a game. One more note, Roberto Hernandez, yeah, I probably followed this guy, I don't know why, was drafted and played Major League Baseball for over 15 years. Yeah, pretty impressive. Problem is, he never hit in the major leagues. He was a relief pitcher. Go figure. So I'll leave you with this. Hug someone that you love. Tell people close to you that you love them every day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Thanks again for this special award. I'm proud to say that I'll be a West Liberty Hall of Famer for life. Thank you.
Bo, I think you owe him for not letting him pitch that freshman year. Yeah. All right, our next inductee, again, when you've lived a million years up here like I have, you come across people, you meet people, and our next inductee is one of those guys, and I've always kind of thought gentle giant. And it's the same thing. If I've ran into you 100 times in the last 20 years, whether it was playing basketball against you in tournaments or you come to watch the Hilltopper play, I've never seen a frown on your face. You're always the first one to put the hand out and those big paws of yours and how you doing, Coach Allum, whatever. And that means a lot to me. Now, obviously, he wasn't a gentle giant on the football field. You can take the word gentle out of there. But getting back into Hall of Fames and selection processes, it's tough when you're a defensive lineman. Because back in your day, we kept sacks, but they didn't dwell on tackles for a loss and quarterback pressures and a million other things. And it's tough. And for those of you who played in the NAIA, there's this misnomer now that, oh, we're Division II and that's a step up. It's not. I coached in the NAIA and Division II, and the talent at the NAIA level may have been better than the Division II level. But back in those days when you didn't have the internet and email and websites, if your team didn't play for a national championship, you're not making All-American. That's just the way it was. So the accolades that some of our athletes get now, which are more than deserving, they're aided by websites and things like that that get your accolades out there. So again, if you lived in those NAIA days, we have people here that should have been first-team All-Americans. And if they were playing today with the recognition and the abilities that we have to promote people, we would have more first-team All-Americans. So, Andy Schumacher. Andy Schumacher was a dominant defensive lineman who earned multiple All-West Virginia Conference and NAIA All-American citations with the Hilltoppers from 81 to 91. The Woodsfield, Ohio native exploded onto the scene as West Liberty's Defensive Freshman of the Year and never looked back. In addition to earning multiple West Virginia Conference Defensive Player of the Week honors, Schumacher was a 3-time All-WVIC selection and earned back-to-back NAIA All-American mention recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Andrew Schumacher.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks for all that nice things you said. First of all, I want to congratulate all the inductees this year. It's an honor to be selected among this group, very talented bunch. Nice job, CJ. You look the best today, buddy. Thanks for the Hall of Fame committee for the votes and for nominating me, and probably a special thanks to Lance LaFollette, who may have had a hand in putting me in this fame. So thank you, Lance. Okay, I do have my glasses on here. I have to tell you a little story about how I found out about getting in the Hall of Fame. Actually, I was out by the end of my road pulling weeds, and as I looked up into the sun, a ray came down from the sky, and I was blinded. And here a voice came and says, "Congratulations, you've been selected to the West Lib Hall of Fame." A divine moment through God, I thought. Here, Sean Allum had texted Lance LaFollette, who was visiting with Father Tim from the Catholic Church. I think probably doing a confession or something, Lance. And here Father Tim couldn't keep a secret, and he told me out by the lane that I've been selected to the Hall of Fame. So that's exactly how I found out I got into the Hall of Fame. Of all things, a Catholic priest couldn't keep a secret. But I can say that because I'm Catholic. So that's a true story. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody who supported me and made the journey with me. And just to go around my table, I want to recognize my dad. I know Cedric talked about, his dad, but my dad taught me the meaning of hard work by simply working hard. Hardest working. Still 85 years old, my dad's still farming out there with me, and very good role model for me. Thank you, Dad. My mom, right there, 82 years old, always bragging on her sons. I said, Mom, you can't talk about your sons all the time. But, she just likes to say that. She's still #1 fan of the high school team. Last Friday night, there was a rainstorm, and there was 5 minutes to go with a running clock. And I said, Mom, let's go. I want to help her dad in the car. She said, no, I'm staying till the end. I said, I'm not, I'm leaving. Special friend Amy, lovely girl. She's actually a Hall of Fame cross-country runner at her local high school, so she'll probably want some autographs later to the two fellows that are in cross-country, Mr. Frazier and Mr. Schuler, I believe. Okay, I'm sorry. So thank you, Amy, for coming. My sister Ange, I don't want to overuse this word, but she is a Hall of Fame sister. She's the best, Ange. Thank you for coming. On a real note, my brother-in-law, Angie's husband, Lance LaFollette, is a real Hall of Famer at West Lib. Still got records here at West Lib. He had a tryout with the USFL Renega days. That's an old joke. Thank you, Lance, for coming. My brother Greg. Where you at, Oz? Oh, sorry. Had a big career here at West Lib. I remember the day against Shepherd. Sometimes the offense wasn't quite getting it done for us here, but that game he had a breakout year and we upset Shepherd. I think he got Player of the Week honors. Greg's a hard-nosed fella. Proud to, and I'll tell you the story here in a little bit, proud to play with my brother Greg. His wife Tanya, thank you, Tanya. Okay, thank you for coming. There's no order to this stuff. I got 3 sons. My son Clegg's not able to be here today. We miss you, Clegg. My second son, Marcus, actually had a real nice career here at West Lib. I believe at the time Cedric was here, 2001, 2015. Is that right, Marcus? Defensive coordinator at the local high school right now, doing a fine job coaching. He picked a fine girl named Allie. Allie is it's an old joke. I promise I wouldn't say it over and over again, but they call me Paul, like Charles Ingalls. But anyways, she said, hey, Paul. These young girls call me Paul. Anyways, she's my daughter-in-Paul. That's what I call her. And 2 fine grandkids, Otto and Isaac. My third son, Joe Booski. Joe is probably the hardest working shoemaker. Fantastic work ethic. I think he must have got that off his grandpa. So, and then the newest shoemaker, all the way from Punta Cana, just got back from a honeymoon, is Brookie. Brookie Shoemaker. Thank you for coming, Brookie. Brother Steve, all-state football player, all-state wrestler. He won the State of Ohio championship in wrestling. That's quite a feat. You can't, when you're a wrestler, it's just you and the guy in the mat. And you win, you're the champion. Good job, Moose. Yo, Adrian. That's a joke. His wife, Adrian's here. Thank you, Adrian, for coming. I don't want to forget anybody. My way, I got it right here, old buddy. I got it right here. Hall of Fame, no joke. Hall of Fame brother and friend, but he's not a brother, he's just my friend, Paris Yoho. One of my all-time best friends. One day we're going to write a book, and hopefully you guys will buy it. But every time we get together, he says, let's write another chapter, Big Shoe. Write another chapter. And St. Janet, his wife. Thank you, Janet. You look fantastic today. Okay, did I get everybody? I don't want... John Boy! Well, see, they didn't say they was all coming for sure. John, all-state football player, played up at Youngstown State, had a huge career, played for Jim Tressel, Youngstown State Penguins. Fantastic. All this bunch is better than me. They really are. Thank you, John, for coming. Okay. I thanked everybody. Okay, I want to talk to you a little bit before my career, just real quick. I want to thank all my coaches from Little League, Al Hunt, junior high, Mr. Palaziak, high school coaches, Coach Straw, Coach Bates, and especially a thank you to Coach Acosta. If you're around the valley here, you know Coach Acosta has been a coach for 50 years. 50 years of coaching. Actually, I had a spot for him. He got rolled up last year on the sideline, still dealing with a hip replacement, and actually got COVID today. But so he taught me a lot. One thing he taught me was no excuses. Anybody that's an athlete here understands simply no excuses. Simply just don't make excuses. And he taught me not to hope to win, but prepare to win and expect to win. That's a simple little thing that goes a long way. Funny part about Coach is he was my coach when I was 18 years old. And then about, 25 years later, he still had that same intensity that he taught me. And I was on the coaching staff. And he had that same intensity all these years later. Matter of fact, it carried on just through his life. Now, you'll find out later I did a little construction work. He'd give me hell in the locker room about hanging a picture on the wall. He'd say, hang that picture now. Not tomorrow, but right now. And I got a kick out of that intensity. And that's another quality I think it's pretty easy as an athlete to understand. You have that intense desire just to make things happen. Right, Pair? Make it happen. Okay? Now, my West Lib journey is a little bit different, okay? I said I played with my brother Greg. I'm 3 years older than my brother Greg, and I'll explain why we played together because the math just don't sound right, but you'll figure it out here in a little bit. I had an okay high school career, got invited to play in an all-star game. I love them binkies there. No, he's good. Also, got invited to the All-Star game, met a guy named Bob Eaton. Okay, he coached up here for 15 years, right, Coach? Fantastic guy. So he said, medium shoe, that's what I call myself. Medium shoe, you want to come play in the All-Star game? Said, I'd like to have you play. So for 2 weeks, had a little All-Star game. Got beat by West Virginia. But, so I went home, and that was the end. That was the end of my football career. Okay? The end, not recruited. So I went back. Dad, Mom said, you might as well get a little job here and work on the farm. So helped my dad farm. And then I picked up the trade of construction, carpentry, electricity, plumbing, masonry, and I learned the trade. So fast forward 3 years later, I was out baling hay. Okay, Dad was helping me. I don't think Greg was. Hard to catch him on the farm. And you're never going to guess who rolls up the lane? Bob Eaton. Bob Eaton drives out to Woodsfield, up through the farm, and he says, medium A, medium shoe. He said, I just got hired as the defensive coordinator at West Liberty University, West Liberty College. He said, and I want to build a defense. Do you want to come play for me? I dropped my pitchfork and says, I'm all in. So, that's a true story. I don't even know the rules. Are you allowed to do that? Anyways, I'm going to try to tell a little story, and I hope it makes sense for you. I don't know if it will. Now, we got some kids in the crowd, so I'm going to change the title. It's called Stinky Little Moments. Okay, Stinky Little Moments. This is a true story. Okay, my first job actually was at a career center / high school campus. Okay, that was my first job. So at the career center / at the campus, okay, some of the day I was part of the high school, and the rest of the day I was part of the career center. Well, the first 2 periods of the day, I, of all things, was a librarian. So I dressed up in nice clothes, and by the 3rd period, I took off all my nice clothes and dressed in my work clothes. But this career center, I had to be a school bus driver. Okay, so I took kids off campus to go build a house. But in the morning, I was in charge of pre-tripping the school bus and make sure it had enough diesel in. Well, it was one of them days where it was real hectic, so I was out of diesel, so I slipped out between first and second period to put diesel in the bus with my good clothes on. So I'm out there with my good clothes on, and I start fueling up the bus, and I spilled diesel all over me. So I thought, that's a stinky deal. That's a stinky deal. So what do? I think, I'll just go back here in the tall grass, okay, and get me a handful of just some grass to get that diesel off my hands. At least it smelled like grass. Here, wouldn't you know, the dog went to the bathroom, and I picked up a handful of dog crap. All right? Now, you have to pay attention. You don't have to, but if you want to pay attention, I'm going to switch gears here and tell you this little story. The quote goes something like this: it'll be all right in the end. If it ain't all right, it ain't the end. And I had dog crap on my hands, and it wasn't all right. So I reach back in, and I get some more grass, and no shit, I find a $20 bill. That's a true story. And I tell that story all the time. You know, you take the good with the bad or the bad with the good. But why I'm telling you that story is because it wasn't the end. It wasn't all right. And here's my journey to West Lib. I'm glad I didn't get recruited, because I might have not went to school. I might have not met these same people, this same group of friends. I might not have run into a guy named Sean Schwartzfeger, who's the chief of police in Wheeling right now. I think he still is, right, Coach? He taught me a team, and here's a story about being a good teammate. I played defensive tackle as a freshman in front of Schwartzy. Bad man linebacker. I mean, tougher than heck. Well, I was getting double teamed. I thought I'd split that double team and make a play. Well, in the meantime, they was getting an angle on Schwartzy, and they was hitting him on an angle, and he was getting hammered. And I thought, well, maybe I made the play, but my buddy Schwartzy was getting hammered. I went back to the huddle. His helmet was turned sideways, and no kidding, half his ear was tore off. That's a true story. Half his ear was tore off. And he said, "Shoo, you got to keep him off of me." So I thought, the more, like Coach said, sometimes the more times you play defensive tackle, your job is simply to keep the guys off the linebacker so they can make the tackle. And then the good part about that story, like that $20 bill story, is we led the league in team defense. So I learned right there it's a team game. Okay, if I would have won a different year, I never would have met a guy named Jimmy Elam. Now, you're not going to beat this story. Listen to this story. All he was a special teamer. He gagged himself on the kickoff team, gagged himself right before kickoff, and when we kicked the ball off, he'd literally be going down the field, puking on every player. No one wanted to block him. He'd make the tackle. True story, Jimmy E. from Pittsburgh. True story, Jimmy E. I miss you, brother. Boy, he's still with us. Another good story, Coach Reggie Phillips, who's still around, on and off. I think he's got a boy up at Bethany right now. He made us run these pursuit drills. Okay, and the pursuit drill is your ones come up to line scrimmage, so it's 11, and then just Coach Reg, and he'd blow the whistle, and you do one Green Bay, that means one hit it, that means one up and down. You just jog in place and hit your stomach. For life of me, I don't understand why it's a football drill. But anyways, that's what we do. We do a lot of Green Bays. So if you're the backside tackle, you got to pretend like if everyone missed the tackle and the running back got around the end, you'd literally have to take a cross-country run across campus to hit that guy at that angle. So you're literally running 60 yards as a backside tackle just to practice the pursuit drill. Unless he called your side, you only had to run 5 yards and tap the guy. Well, Coach Reggie never ran my play side, so he always made me run 60 yards pursuit drills. And I'll tell you, I probably ran 1,000 of them. But anyways, that was the shitty part of the story. But the good part of the story is, after all those years, my senior year at Concord, actually the guy broke free, and I took that 60-yard angle and actually made a tackle. And I think that's the only time I ever got my name mentioned at West Lib. Okay, so I go on and on. Like to mention the guys. I'm 57. The guys that passed on. I don't want to forget anybody, but Eddie Neff just passed away. My buddy Eddie Neff passed away. Mark Doyle from Blair, my buddy passed away. Mike Lucy, Mike Grunewald, Mo Pearson from Steubenville. Probably a number of others. I miss you guys. You know, just so many good times. Oxen, Plaz, Emilio, Dirk, Terry, Lance, Smoothie, Dugan, Neffy, Doyle, Grungy. I could go on and on. Shab Poe, Richards, Mo Ray, you know, Rickett, Buzz, you know, just go on and on and on. Probably the story of why I had so many friends is I was a 21-year-old freshman and I can buy them all beer. But I'd like to thank Coach Shank, who gave me my first opportunity. Coach Vasquez, he actually came to the farm with me, or with Coach Eaton when he came that day. Coach Dugas, Hall of Famer. I don't think Coach Dugas here, right? Yeah, Coach Dugas, they ought to make a T-shirt of Coach Dugas. Old school tough. T-shirt. Just is simply a great coach. Coach Marsh, Coach Bowdish, Coach McLean, Coach Kozar, of course, Coach Reggie, and Coach TC, who it was invited today, but he picked WVU Pitt over this. But that's all right. Did I tell you the story? I told you that story, right? Okay. Now I want to thank West Liberty. What a great place to be up here on campus. I love West Liberty. Like to see, Cedric said, the family atmosphere. Love West Lib. Great staff with Raleigh Williams, who passed away. Used to hang out with Raleigh. I don't even know if anybody remembers Raleigh, but you know, been gone for years now. Yeah, Raleigh's my buddy. You know, fantastic guy. Mrs. Harris, Dr. Barbeau, who recently passed, I believe, too. Dr. Barbeau, McCullough. Just go on and on. I did go to class. They made me feel so good. Quick little story. This is a true story. I don't know whatever happened to this fella, but there was a guy named Andy Stuckey. He'd simply come to the practice field and want to carry my helmet back to the locker room. And guys used to get on me. They call me Stuckey. And no one's allowed to call me Stuckey, but for one semester, they called me Andy Stuckey. Now, does anybody from around West Lib here know an Andy Stuckey? I don't know if I dreamt that or what, but I swear it happened. I thought I was with the Green Bay Packers. He carried my helmet back to the locker room. Wherever you are, Andy Stuckey, thank you for that. And this is the absolute true story, absolute true story. How many college campuses could be like this? First day on campus, I was in a towel, nothing on, waiting for my physical. 25 freshmen, didn't really feel that comfortable. Coach Shank says, get in your towel and just go wait in line. Okay, on the last day on campus, 4 years later, I was in a towel, in a sauna with Dr. Clyde Campbell. No, I mean, that's just what that family was about. The president, I don't know where our president went, but that's not to be anything other than that's how close it was up here at West Lib. Dr. Clyde Campbell, which I seen him at Kroger's maybe a year ago. He's still hanging around, right? Dr. Clyde Campbell. What a college. And thank you again, West Liberty, for making this 4 outstanding, unforgettable years of my life. Thank you very much.
We'll keep those hot tub stories to ourselves. Well, we have one more, and definitely not last, not least. We talked a little bit about cross-country track with Michael Frazier. This gentleman, again, a standout. And I don't know how you cross-country people do it. I really, really don't. I was a basketball player. Basketball's fun. No matter when you're playing, it's always fun. But having a son, again, that is in the distance racing, running 100 miles a week in every single condition from 100 degrees or 0 degrees or whatever, you guys are crazy. But I don't know how you do it. And it takes an incredible amount of discipline, an incredible amount of, you just have to love doing what you're doing. And the last thing that I want to say before I introduce our last inductee here, he is an example of how did we miss you all these years? How did we not recognize somebody that's a 3-time conference champion? And Mr. Shuler, you're the one that I'm going through these trumpets and I'm seeing conference champion. And then I scroll a year ahead and I'm reading all these things and conference champion and scroll ahead and I'm thinking, this guy should be in the Hall of Fame. So again, we apologize. Hope you enjoy this day. You are so deserving. So last and not least, David Shuler, one of the premier distance runners in West Virginia Conference history. David Shuler was an All-American and multi-sport conference champion at West Liberty during the early 60s before going on to an illustrious business career. Shuler won a staggering 10 West Virginia Conference track and cross-country championships during his time on the Hilltop. He earned NAIA All-American honors in '64 with a top 10 finish at the Nationals. He also won a WVIC swimming championship in swimming with a victory in the mile swim at the WVIC championships and received an invitation to train for the '68 Olympic pentathlon. Ladies and gentlemen, one more thing. He was also named in 1974 with a berth on the WVIC's all-time spring sports teams. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present David Shuler.
I want to thank the committee for selecting me, but in answer to the question, how you cross-country people do it, think of that guy chasing you. No way in hell. I'm running. One of the things is I heard some people talk about scholarships, and I also heard him say he's only 57. Well, the last time I won a state WVAC conference championship was 59 years and 5 months ago, Sonny. I got shoes older than you. And the other thing is when I came to West Liberty, there was no such thing as full scholarships for track people, cross country. You could maybe get partial, which is room and board, or tuition. You couldn't get them both. I went to school on a national defense loan. And I had to pay for the education. My wife helped me pay for the education. The thing of it is that when I was here, we had the opportunity of having some wonderful instructors, professors, teachers, and I want to mention their name just because most of them are not here. Now, Dr. Campbell's still alive. I've talked to him recently, but these people were wonderful. Dr. Wolf, Bernie Peace, Nellie Kreis, Dr. Raymond Hughes, Frank Mazzapapa. Now, I got to tell you something about Raymond Hughes. Raymond Hughes was a paraplegic. He was in a wheelchair. And he had a football player who was a little bit along your temperament. And he was always tormenting Dr. Hughes in English 101. And Dr. Hughes finally had enough of him one day, and he said, "Tommy, I've had enough of you. I can do anything you can do." And Tommy said, "Oh yeah? Kick a football." Now he's in a wheelchair. He can't kick a football. It cracked up Dr. Hughes. He puts his hands in his face and starts laughing and then says, "Get out of my class." I had the opportunity also of Frank Mazzapapa, Libby Orsini, Ollie Olson, Art Popo, and George Kovalik. And when they were talking about track, I had the distinct opportunity of being undefeated in track and cross country in my college career. So how I went unnoticed, it doesn't matter. I'm here. Thank you. Now, you've heard a lot of things and see a lot of things about football, basketball, and baseball. And you know a lot of the interplay and what's going on in the field and see these things, grab them by the face mask or whatever. But I'm going to also tell you, track and cross country can be some very interesting byplays that go on and things that happen. For example, we had one thing where we had a cross country meet in Concord. You mentioned Concord. We had it down in Concord, and you went around the track, then you exited the stadium, went down a country road, and then you went through a loop, which was about a half-mile loop through the woods. But about middle of the loop, the course actually came within about 8 yards of each other. So you were returning almost on the same path you were in. Well, when I went into that loop, I was in the lead. Went around that 400 yards, came back onto the road, starting to run. I'm now 100 yards behind the Concord runners. So they obviously took a shortcut. So I stepped it up, ran up the hill, got into there, won the race, and behind me is my teammate. And he's coming in after running 4.2 miles, and he's madder than hell. Everybody's holding him back. "What's wrong, Chuck?" And he yelled at the two Concord guys. He said, "I ran the whole race. Did you too?" And their coach heard that and said, "You two didn't do it again." They had done it before where they cut through that loop. He immediately went to our coach, says, I'm withdrawing, I'm forfeiting those two. You win the meet 15-0. Now, you've run cross country, and you know 15-0 is a perfect score. Do you know how to score cross country? 1 for first, 2 for second, 3 for third, 4 for fourth, 5 for fifth, and so on. And the lowest total score wins. So when you go 1 through 5, we have 15-0. It's the first perfect score in conference history. So we won that. The other one I would like to tell you about is we had a meet against Bethany. And you know where the barn is at the bottom of the hill on 88 going up to 67? We would start out there and run up that hill, turn right and go into Bethany and run around the town. Well, cross country is a very docile sport, you would think. There was this one guy from Bethany that was about 6'6", 6'7", not your typical cross-country size. And he was well over 200 pounds, somebody you would have played against. And I noticed him milling around. Everywhere I went, he went. And I'm thinking, something's fishy here. So right before the race, I moved about 5 people away from him. And when they started, I took off running. And as the race started, I could feel a swoosh and a little wind by my ear. And then I heard, "Oh, no, you don't." And what it was my teammate, the fella had tried to hit me in the back of the head. My teammate got him, and he took quick care of him on the ground, dispatched him. Interesting, my teammate became a sergeant in the West Virginia State Police. He's my teammate forever. Another one that we did is that I was running for the first time in my athletic career, I always ran the mile and the 2 mile. One time only, I ran the half mile, and it was in the state conference championship my last year here. And it quickly became a two-man race. This one gentleman from West Virginia State and me. And we're in the back stretch on the tracks down the hill. And I could hear footsteps behind me, but he wasn't in my peripheral vision. And I felt something in my right arm, and I jerked it. And I kept running, and I picked up the pace, ended up winning the race. Anyway, the West Virginia State coach came over and told our coach, he said, "I'm filing a protest that your runner cut my runner off." Now, if you've ever run, I'm in front. How can I cut off somebody that's behind me? But he said he's going to file that protest. Anyway, there was a photographer from the Register, Wheeling News Register, that says, "I took pictures of that race." He said, "And I have pictures of the West Virginia State runner trying to grab the West Liberty runner's arm." And they went to the two coaches, they talked to him, and they approached the West Virginia State runner, and they said, "Your coach is filing a protest that you cut him off." He said, "No. I tried to grab Mr. Schuler's arm to get him off stride and hopefully that I could beat him around the turn. He won the race fair and square. So I won the half mile." Now, the last thing he mentioned is that I won the mile swim. So here I am, I'm competing in cross country, track, mile, 2 mile, and I swam the mile swim in the state conference meet. Now, at that time, West Liberty did not have a formal coach. They used an interim coach, a temporary coach, they called him. I said interim, temporary coach. His name was Warren Pugh from Lindsley Military. And he would come up after he had done with his Lindsley practices, and he would get maybe a half of our practice. Well, it became too daunting of a task for him to work us and be there with the practice and do whatever. So they told the athletic director at that time, "You've got to have somebody that we can immediately contact." So they asked for a volunteer to be our coach on campus. And the one fellow that volunteered was Art Barbeau, who was a history professor from New York City. And Art says, yeah, he was wonderful at scheduling, wonderful at practices, and we did great. And when we won our first meet, one of the traditions in swimming is to grab your coach and throw him into the pool. So here we go to get Art Barbeau, and he's doing, it took 5 of us. One grabbing around the chest, one grab an arm, the other grab another arm, another grab a leg, another grab another leg, and threw him into the pool. As he goes under, he goes, blah, blah, blah. I'll clean it up. You idiots. Now, he's from New York City. You can imagine what word he used. But you idiots. And then, "I can't swim." Now we're going in to save our coach. So we bring him up, put him up. Now he goes, "Each one of you boys, I'm going to remember this, and I'm going to get even with each one of you boys. I'll never forget it." So we go through, and as fate would have it, during the year, they had trouble in the pool with the plumbing and the heating system. So they had to drain the pool down so that Art Myers and Tom Myers and the people could work on it. Well, at that time of year, you're working on water that's right close to freezing that's into the reservoir. Well, they used that water to refill the pool. But Coach Barbeau, well, Art Bobo, called us and said, okay, we're going to have a practice today, only 25 yards, one length of the pool, just for time. But you're to get dressed in the main locker room, go to the other locker room and stage, and you come down one at a time, and you're going to dive into the pool and do 25 yards. Well, no problem, except that at that time the pool water was around 51, 52 degrees. You can imagine our excitement when we hit that cold water. Every pore in your body slammed shut. We got done, go back to the locker room, get a little bit of warm shower, get our clothes on, and we come back down, and we go to see, and Barbeau says, you thought I'd forget. You boys thought I wouldn't. I told you I'd get even with every one of you boys. And we had this one fellow that was a breaststroker, a gentle man, and he steps forward, he said, first time only, Coach. Always it was Professor or Mr. Barbeau. Coach, how about the shallow end? Art Barbeau put his head down, and you could see the corners of his mouth start to come up. Sorry about that. Corner of his mouth come up. And here's this guy from New York City, and you can imagine all the names he's been called. He's now been called by one of our teammates, Coach. He looks at us and he said, men, now we'd been boys up to then. Men, the shallow end is fine. Now, isn't that interesting that here we had transformed from boys to men, and he had gone from Mr. Barbeau or Professor to Coach in that very short time span. And isn't that the essence and spirit of sports, to come together as one team? And it was wonderful, and I was glad I was part of that. And I'll tell you, like I said, it's been 59 years, 5 months. There's only one thing that ever stopped me from running. It's my wife, Shirley. That's my chick. I've been married to her going on 59 years. I want to thank the committee for selecting me, but I also want to tell you and congratulate all the other people that were selected, but I want to tell you how much I really, really, really appreciate you did this while I'm still alive.
Well, every year it never fails to impress me, meaning we hear these stories, you never disappoint us. It's great having people from different eras. You get their perspective of what West Liberty University athletics meant to them, what West Liberty University academics meant to them. And I couldn't be more proud of everyone that was here today. Hopefully you enjoyed your moment. You're always one of us. Please continue to come back, come to events, be part of us. I'll encourage you in challenging times in higher ed. There are schools that close across the country. We've had several schools in our own conference that have closed in the last couple years, and we need your help. So if you have a grandkid or a cousin or a neighbor and they're looking for a place to go to school, please reference West Liberty University. I think we do a tremendous job here. And we would love to continue to educate and provide opportunities for kids. I will remind all the inductees, hang on to your plaques, get pictures taken, enjoy the day. It looks like it's a beautiful day out there. Don't forget, 4 minutes left in the second quarter. Please make your way down to the sideline. But enjoy this day. Enjoy the day. I hope it's meant something to you, because you sure as heck mean something to us.